DuckTales Remastered adapts the 1980s classic into a modern format with many improvements, extended gameplay, and a thumping soundtrack, and an all-round 2D platforming action. Scrooge McDuck has to be the most lovable capitalist to have ever capitalized on society since, well, I guess some titans stand alone. Most of us would have remembered DuckTales from the old animated TV show back in the late 80s. The owners of most animated TV shows from that era could not help but attempt to capitalize on the burgeoning video game market. If you haven't played the original DuckTales for the NES, which was released back in '89, I implore you, play it. Developed by Capcom with the developers who worked on the Mega Man series, it was one of the best games on the platform. The well-defined pixel art, thundering soundtrack, a near-perfect difficulty curve, and tight controls. The game earned its place on the multitude of best-of lists it has since appeared on. It would prove successful for both Capcom and Disney, selling over 1 million copies. It's actually quite impressive that it took Disney almost 20 years to remaster the game. I can't tell if that was restraint on Disney's part or not. WayForward, the developers of the remaster, has their work cut out for them. Did they do justice to the original? I'll kick this review off with a simplified, spoiler-free plot. The Beagle Boys attempts to steal money from Scrooge, and in the process they captured triplets. Once rescued and the Beagle Boys defeated in Scrooge's office, a painting provides him with details of 5 treasures across the globe. Scrooge, together with his team of familiar faces, set out to retrieve the treasures and the secrets hidden within. The plot plays out like a typical Saturday morning cartoon, which isn't a bad thing. I like the plot and where it took us, getting to see so many characters from the show even if it was for a small section in a level, which was great. Sometimes a simple, clear plot with a well-defined in-world resolution is the best. WayForward also chose to include voice acting, and while some of the performances grated on my ears, I grew to enjoy it by the middle of the game. Not enjoying the initial voice acting was me just trying to get into the game as quickly as possible. The voice acting was spot on for most of the characters and the lines were delivered just as they would have been in the TV show. I would like to reiterate that it was like watching an extended episode. This transitions me into talking about how much of a faithful adaptation it is, both of the game and the show. I will admit that I have a soft spot for the original. I played a huge amount of it back when I was younger and I didn't think I'd have as much fun with this game as I did. The game updates and extends the original in a way that felt good, even if there was a few missteps here and there. Before getting to the issues I had with the game, I want to talk about some of the good parts of the game. The primary mode of attack and mobility is Scrooge's signature pogo stick. Jumping on enemies not only gives you a temporary second jump, but it also feels so satisfying to do so. The game holds that finely tuned 2D platforming in high regard. This is a perfect example of a single mechanic that is so fun and well thought out and well implemented that it carries the entire game on its back. The pogo mechanics were precise. It gave you the ability to make split-second decisions in mid-air. The game remains fun while exploring hidden passages, jumping on enemies, or jumping to your death, all satisfying. There's quite a bit I want to talk about when it comes to design, so I'll keep the following section brief. The levels mostly came from the original NES game. There have been some updates and some changes to it. There were also 2 new levels added to the game. I quite enjoyed the level design, though there were times when I felt like it didn't choreograph locations well, but that could just be me. The levels were robust, unique, and each level had its own mini-quests. The treasures you receive are all gained from defeating bosses. Each boss is unique both visually and mechanically. It also helps that some of the bosses are characters from the show, complete with their love-hate for Scrooge and with the personalities that they had in the show. It quickly became a part of their gameplay as well. The art style is where some might get turned off, and the truth is I was hoping for more of a pixel art style, but we got drawn 2D sprites interlaced with 3D objects and environments, although most are 2D. The style grew on me, although it would have been interesting to think about if it had all been pixel art. The music, oh, that theme song. I've had it on repeat for the entire time while writing this review. The title track is one of the best versions of this theme song I've ever heard. Perfectly blending like those real big band instruments with that bit crush drums and that raw pixel with an 8-bit melody. It was amazing. It is one of the best versions of that theme song I've ever heard. This is the definitive cover, apart from the original, of course. The sound design and sound effects complements every stage and every level, though it puts its own charm on it. It felt satisfying bonking on enemies and collecting treasures and completing the stages. The end score screen you get after every screen is also very euphoric. I love it. Every time you collect gems and treasures, you gain money. You can also use this money to swim in your massive money bank, just like the show. You can also use it to buy behind the scenes content such as sketches, which is a nice touch, and it incentivized me to get more of the collectibles since I was able to get cool extra in-game stuff for it. And with that, I draw my conclusion. I enjoyed playing DuckTales Remastered, and while I haven't beaten the game out yet, I am on the second to last stage, and I do believe that this is a fantastic entry for those who didn't play the original and for those who just like DuckTales. It is a great extension to the franchise. Okay, thank you all very much for listening through that review. If you like what you heard, you like what you saw, I do this more often. Well, I know it doesn't look as often, but I do this very often. So if you'd like me to look at a game or anything like that, or if you want to talk about your favorite episodes from the show or what you didn't like or did like about this remaster, please leave it in the comments below. And thank you all very much.